Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the BlackBrazilToday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I'm taking on a topic that I've talked a lot about over the years, first on the blog, now on this channel. And again, it's not to necessarily show Brazil in a bad light. It's just these are the facts. And when new studies come out, and I think they have something to do with race or color, it's something that I think I should bring to my audience. As much as many things as I love about Brazil, there are just a lot of things that I just really don't like as well. And I'm quite sure that after you all check out this study that I'm about to present, I think you'll understand why I say there's a number of things that I don't like about Brazil, right? I mean, what other way can I say this? Before I even get into this story, this new study that came out today, I want to request that everybody like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell so that you can get new videos when I put them up. With that business taken care of, I also want to mention one other thing. The way YouTube judges videos, oftentimes I get videos that I'll put up and I don't see anything wrong with them, but they'll be flagged. Okay, we cannot monetize this video. This video violates such and such and such and such. So I put in a lot of time doing research for these videos, and I would just ask that people who, if you find anything intriguing or there's things that you learned or you liked about something that you heard on this channel, do want to reach out and ask that you just support the channel. Feel free to donate whatever you feel is sufficient to the Cash App profile that I have. You see the $ MRMARQUES 72. That's my Cash App profile. Donate whatever you feel like is sufficient for you. Not asking you to break the bank or anything, but just a little bit of support definitely helps me get by and be able to devote more time to putting out some of this information that you might find intriguing. So with that said, a new study reveals that every 4 hours, at least one Black person was killed by police in Brazil in 2022. And as I'm having to say every time now, so that people understand what I say when I say Black, uh, Black for Afro-Brazilian activists includes the Black and brown population. According to the census, the brown population, which can be a mixture of any type of person. And as I'm finding myself having to say this with every video when the topic is the color or race breakdown in Brazil, some people look at race and color in Brazil, according to the Black-Brown standard, as two separate groups, while others look at the Black and brown categories as being part of the same group. Afro-Brazilian militants and activists in the movement see Black and brown as part of the Black population group. They put the pretos y pardos, or the Blacks and browns, together in one category and call that the Black population, while other people say that pardos are completely separate from pretos, right? And my stance has always been there is a parcel of the pardo population that by all intents and purposes, they would be considered Black. And then there's a large percentage of the Pardo population that you simply can't categorize. And so we'll just say that they're brown or mixed. Okay. But be that as it may, when I talk about the Black population today, that does include the Black and the brown population. This is how this study breaks down, because there are so many more people who define themselves as Pardo than Preto. Obviously, the large majority of people that we're going to refer to in this video probably will fall under the Pardo category. But as I said, a percentage of those Pardos would clearly be identified as Black by a lot of people. So let me get into this study, because this is something that I've been talking about for a number of years. And whenever there's a new study comes out, I have to talk about it, because, I've covered this for years and I want to bring people the latest information. Love Brazil, but, if you're traveling to Brazil, this is just something that you should just keep in mind. And, as much as I love Brazil, it can be a very dangerous country. So new study reveals that every 4 hours, at least one Black person was killed by police in Brazil in 2022. So today's piece was written by Arthur Antunes. This comes from the Mundo Negro website, one of my favorite sites in terms of information about Black Brazilians. Okay, so let's just get right into this story today. A new study by the network of security observatories called Pele-alvo a bala no erra o negro, meaning target skin, the bullet doesn't miss Black people, published on Thursday, November 16th, revealed that the Black population continues to be the biggest victim of police violence. Throughout 2022, of the 3,171 death records with a race or color in which race or color information was declared, Black people, again, Black and brown, accounted for 87.35% or 2,770 people. That's a lot of people. Um, I mean, we often talk about the police brutality in the United States, but I've been saying this for a couple of decades now. When you compare the numbers between how many people American police kill versus Brazilian police, there's absolutely no comparison. It's almost like it's an undeclared war on the non-white population. That's just, I mean, there's in some ways, there's just no other way that I can see this. You see this particular picture here, and the person's sign says "A bala da PM só mata preto," which means the military police bullet only kills Black people. And this is more of the same of what we're talking about today. A Black person is killed by the police every 4 hours in 2022, according to this report. The data, which could be much higher, was obtained from the state public security departments of the states of Bahia, Ceará, Maranhão, Pará, Pernambuco, Piauí, Rio de Janeiro, and Sao Paulo via the Access to Information Law. So most of these states, you'll notice, Bahia, Ceará, Maranhão, Pará, Pernambuco, and Piauí, they're all in the northeast of the country where Black and brown people are usually the majority of these states, whereas Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo are the two largest states, the largest cities in, well, they're talking about state here. So Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo have the largest populations in the country. And so they would be part of this study just because they have large Black populations in both of these states. Let's keep this moving. In the 4 years of study, a second factor causes us great perplexity. Once again, the number of Black people killed by police violence represents the vast majority, and the constancy of this number year after year highlights the violent and racist structure in the actions of these security agents in the states without pointing to any prospect of real change in the scenario, says social scientist Sylvia Ramos, the coordinator of the Observatory Network. You know, you have one of these pictures here. This is from, looks like a night vigil over somebody else who was probably killed by the police. Their sign says, against genocide. I can't really see what that says, rebel against something. But you constantly see these type of vigils, these nighttime vigils. People have candles and there's a lot of tears. There's a lot of screaming because people see it. You know, I became aware of the high rates of police murder in Brazil, maybe back in about 2003. You know, I came across a study and I was just amazed at what I saw because when I looked at individual cities like Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, the military police in those places killed more people in 1 year than all American police in a period of 20 years. I was absolutely just stunned by that. As much as police violence is broadcast on the news in the United States and around the world, you know, another Black person got killed or whoever got killed, it pales in comparison to the numbers. It's just savage what's going on in Brazil. That's the only way that that's the only way I can describe what's going on there. You constantly see these elevated numbers of police murders in places like Bahia and the states that I just mentioned. It's almost like, wow, we're going to target the states that have, you know, more Black and brown people. I mean, how else can we look at that? So it's necessary to take the lethality of Black people caused by police officers as a political and social issue. Deaths and actions or police actions also harm the very corporations that produce them. We need to allocate resources to guarantee a public policy that effectively brings security to the entire population, she adds. The police in Rio de Janeiro killed 1,042 Black people in 2022, while in Pernambuco, almost 90% of the victims were Black. The research concludes that since many cases are not reported by the police, it is extremely difficult to measure the data assertively. For the third year in a row, Maranhão, the state of Maranhão, again in the Northeast, did not report data on the race color of those killed by the police. Now, it should be noted that Maranhão has one of the biggest black brown populations along with Bahia. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but the numbers that I've always seen puts Maranhão and Bahia between the Preto and Pardo population. It puts the state at about 76% black and brown. So why is it that Maranhão is not producing their records on this topic of murder of Brazilian citizens in those states by police forces? Are they trying to hide something? Okay. Okay, again, same report. This is from SBT. One black was killed by police every 4 hours. Part of the history of those killed by the police has been erased, distancing us from the possibility of better understanding these dynamics and establishing public policies to reduce these alarming numbers, says the bulletin. The data shows that year after year, police lethality against Black people remains high, and there is no movement by governments to reduce violent events. On the contrary, there is a continuation of the Guerra às Drogas, which translates as war on drugs policy, which has produced more deaths and mass incarceration. So year after year, this is something that we see. There was a University of Sao Paulo professor who said this years ago. He uncovered like a study by a think tank, or just a paper produced by the think tank in Brazil, and it basically said that they wanted to eliminate the undesirables. Now, who would the undesirables be in a country like Brazil? What would they look like? Okay, that's the question you have to ask. What else do we have here? The war on drugs. So I have just countless stories you'll find on the Black Brazil Today blog where police just go into poor neighborhoods, favelas, or what people call comunidades, communities, poor communities, and they come in shooting. It's like shoot first, ask question later. And you constantly just see Black bodies hitting the ground. Vast majority of the people will be innocent. They'll have nothing to do with, any type of drug trafficking. But yet every day you're seeing people getting killed, getting struck down by stray police bullets on this because of the so-called Guerra às Drogas, again, war on drugs. So it's increasing the deaths, and it's also increasing the number of people being mass incarcerated in the country. As I've said, Brazil is either number 4 or number 3 in the world in terms of the largest prison populations on the planet. So what's going on here? So again, Blacks represent 87% of those killed by police among 3,171 events in which the information of race of color in 8 states. This is what the information from these eight states say. So I'm gonna finish this story, but I want to go to some links also that just kind of back up what I'm saying. The bulletin Pele Alvo, A Bala No Erra o Negro, also highlights that in Rio de Janeiro, 54.39% of the population is Black. Again, that meaning Black and brown, but the number of deaths represents 86.98%. So what they're saying here is the Black brown, the Preto Pardo population in the state of Rio de Janeiro is 54.39% of the state, but yet the deaths by police is almost 87%. So their representation of being murdered by police is like 33% higher than their representation in the state itself. In Sao Paulo, whose population includes 40.26 Black and brown people, police killings of these people account for 63.9% of the total. So you got a 23% higher level of them being murdered by military police forces than their representation in the state. So we see this throughout the country. This has been an ongoing struggle. It just seems like there's some type of genocidal policy that's in place for us to see such absurd numbers of people getting killed in Brazil. And so I'm bringing you this story, but I also found that there's another website that's reporting on this same story. It's from looks like the French press agency, the AFP. Brazil police kill a black person every 4 hours, says a report. They are really representing the same numbers that I have. I think the country's population is probably a little bit more than 203 million by now. I would say it's probably around 210, 215. Could be wrong. But just to put this in perspective, I wanted to, whenever I talk about police murders in Brazil, I have to bring this up because, as I said, we constantly hear about a black person being struck down by police or being violently assaulted by police in the United States. But again, when you make a comparison of those numbers, just really no comparison. So as we're talking about 2022, look at these numbers right here. So according to this official number from 2022 from this Statista website, 225 Black or African American people were killed by police forces across the United States in the year 2022. When you add up all of these numbers of white, Black, Hispanic, other, and it looks like people who were killed in which the race was not considered or wasn't declared. So either you go with the number that adds the white, Black, Hispanic, and other together, or you include it with the unknown figure. If you use the first figure, you come up with 756 people were killed by American police forces. If you include the unknown category, you come up with 1,097. So either Black people were 29% of those murdered or 20% of those murdered, depending on, working with the data with or without the unknown data. So compare that to the 2,770 people killed, Black and brown people in Brazil, which represents 87%. So then you have either 20 to 29% of African Americans being killed, the percentage of African Americans being killed by American police forces, that's the entire country, versus 87% of Black and brown people being killed in Brazil. And again, there's really no comparison here. If you'll notice, let me just look at this again, because I thought there was an area here that basically said that in just one state, and like the state of Rio, there were more people killed in the state of Rio than all the murders by American police forces in the entire United States, which is something that I've been talking about for a number of years. What else do we have here? Okay, this is another report. This report just came out. You can see this is dated November 16th, of every 4 hours, a Black person is killed by police in 2022. This is a similar story here from Rádio Agência, the headline. In 2022, police killed one Black person for every 4 hours in 8 states of the country. Okay. The other thing, like I said, that's crazy because they're only considering 8 states right here. Brazil has, I think, 26 states and a federal district. This is reported by CNN Brazil, the same headline you have here. They're all basing this off of this one study, Pele Alvo, you see right here. We have another report here. And then these are some of the things that I have on the blog. Brazilian police kill 5 times more than American police. On average, they kill 6 people per day. Numbers out of Brazil are just shocking. So I say, I love the country, but definitely some issues going on there. So military police patrol the Made favela of Rio de Janeiro. So can you imagine going through your neighborhood and you finding police dressed as if they're in the military going into combat, and you'll see police like this walking around with this full police gear, like soldier gear, just walking through communities. And it's like people in the state of Rio know it's like when you see, take cover, because bullets come flying just out of nowhere, and we're going after drug traffickers, and it's just like it doesn't matter who happens to catch the stray bullet, right? Watch yourself if you're hanging out in Brazil. These are just some more headlines. Let's see, number of deaths in police stops in the federal district is bigger in 2023 than in the last 5 years. 64% of those killed by police in Sao Paulo are Black. All the deaths in Recife being the capital of the northeastern state of Pernambuco, says the deaths in Recife in 2022 were Black, of those killed by the police. Blacks are 87% of those killed by police in 7 states. So, what do you get from some of these reports? I'm not telling you not to travel to Brazil because, it's been a place that I've visited, numerous times over the last 23 years. And of course, as I said, I've lived there for 9 years. So, I can't tell you what your experience would be in Brazil, but these are just some facts that I think everybody should know regarding living in Brazil and having brown, light brown, dark brown, or Black skin. This is just the reality. So anyway, curious to know what you thought about this report today. As I said, definitely share this video, comment on this video in the comment section. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Consider subscribing to the channel if you've seen more than a few videos that you liked or you found intriguing. Click on the notification bell so that you'll get videos, as I post them. Consider donating to the Cash App profile. Again, MRQUES72. That's the Cash App profile. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and request that you come back and check out the next video when I post it.